Everyone. Let me just get started here. Had a little technical issues, but I'm Debbie Giaquindo, and I want to welcome you to $1 Million Sips, my educational brand arm of the Hudson Valley Wine Goddess. And we'll just wait maybe a minute or two, make sure everybody gets here, and we'll start our program. So, hi Renee, how are you? Let me get going here. I know everyone's time's valuable, and we'll get going. If you have any questions, just wait till the end, and I'll take all your questions at the end. So let me screen share here over to, you don't want my sticky notes. What do I want? Screen share this, but I really want this, so just bear with me a second. And here we go. And put this in present mode, and we'll get going. Once it loads, there you go. Powerful tips for your business dinner. So welcome to $1 Million Sips. I'm really thrilled that you guys took the time out of your day to come here and want to invest in learning about wine through a business lens. And $1 Million Sips is going to be my personal educational brand for the Hudson Valley Wine Goddess, both consumer and for business. And my goal with this particular program, Powerful Tips for Your Business Dinner, is not only to teach you about wine, but to make it applicable to your life as a business professional. A little bit about who I am. I'm Debbie Giaquindo. I'm the Hudson Valley Wine Goddess. I became interested in wine probably about way back in the 90s. When my husband was told to stop drinking scotch and to start drinking beer or wine, we went to the wine route. I went to the liquor store, bought a bottle of Rioja, and then the rest is history. We really enjoyed wine so much, we started learning about it. In 2006, I launched my wine blog, Hudson Valley Wine Goddess, and my husband too, he went into the wine industry and he became a winemaker. And in 2010, I became a certified specialist of wine, and in 2011, a wine location specialist in Port and Champagne. And I did that to give myself some accreditation. But I really enjoy teaching people about wine so that they are better able to understand it. And it's always, it's a constant learning situation. So you're in the right place. I'm not sure what brought you to the seminar today, but I want you to know you are in the right place. If you host clients regularly, sometimes if you feel stuck on where to wine and dine your clients, if you find it painful to select the proper wine for your meal, you feel frustrated and uncomfortable closing a business deal over dinner, and you want to know what and how to successfully wine and dine your clients. And if you can relate to any or all of these scenarios, you are in the right place. You showed up, and I'm going to walk you through some of the solutions for some of these scenarios. In this webinar, you will discover how to prepare for the business dinner, how to select the wine list, how to navigate, or how to select the wine, how to navigate the wine list, proper wine service, how to pick out a wine fault that's in your wine. We'll give you basic food and wine pairings, and at the end of the webinar, you'll have more knowledge and confidence to better understand wine and successfully host a business dinner. And if you stay to the end, we'll let you know about my upcoming program, Mastering the Business Dinner. And also, if you stay to the end, you'll get the bonus, the quick guide to sparkling wines of the world. So now let's talk a little bit about the business dinner. Have you ever found yourself sitting down to a nice meal knowing the goal is to wow a client and you got to close that business deal, but maybe you weren't quite sure how to pull it off? You're stressing about what restaurant to take the client to. You're stressing about what wine to order. You really want to, make yourself look good and you want to feel confident. And how about getting to the end of the evening smoothly with no hiccups? I've been there. $1 Million Sips was I created to alleviate the stress of making the reservation, planning the business dinner, selecting the wine. And I'll give you a really, really short story. I had in the healthcare industry, I was a community relations coordinator for a healthcare insurance company, and we're at a department dinner. And there's about 15 of us around the table, and my boss says, Debbie, you're into wine. Here, you order the wine for the dinner. And I just looked and I had that moment of panic. I was like, oh gosh, I really got to shine here, But I ordered the wine for the dinner and everyone thought it was great. And I'll even remember it was a Hall wine from California, a Cabernet. So I was pretty proud of myself back then. Let's talk a little bit about the dinner preparation. Planning ahead, of course, is the key. But before securing the reservations, you really need to do a little research online. Look at the restaurant. If you're not familiar with the restaurant, look and see what the reviews are. It's really important to look at the menu and the wine list. And sometimes it's hard to tell if the stuff is up to date. But if you look at the wine list, you kind of can tell if the white wine vintages are within the past 2 years, then the wine list is up to date. Remember that planning for wine service, 1 bottle will get you between 4 and 5 glasses of wine. So you want to plan accordingly to your group, and the average price that you will spend is between $10 and $20 per person per bottle. Now, granted, you could spend more. It really depends on what your expense account allows you to spend. And if warranted, when making the reservation, if you're not sure about the wine and this is a really, really important dinner, ask to speak to the sommelier because he can help you actually select the wines before your meal and have them all ready for you. I actually did that this weekend with my daughter's. She graduated from college, and I went ahead and I planned what wines, what champagne to have on the table first, and what red and white wine to serve to people, which really alleviated everyone going, I want this, I want that. So it worked out really well for me. So if during the meal, and if you didn't prearrange anything, and you all sitting down at the dinner, and it's time to order the wine, but you're not sure what to order, but you have a price range to stick to, you kind of want a white wine, but you're not sure, say, what kind of white wine. I call this the pointing game. If you point to a price that's in the book, around the wine, you can say, well, I'm kind of looking for something like this. And if you point to a Chardonnay in a $25 or $50 price range, the sommelier should understand this gesture and return with the appropriate selection. So if you really want to sit and pick out the wine, you want to research it, let's talk a little bit about navigating that wine list. When navigating the wine list without expert help, please be aware of the different types of wines available. You have your sparkling, your rosé, your white, your red, and then you have your after dinner drinks. And when selecting the wine, try to think a little bit out of the box. If there's local wines on the menu, me personally, I always like to try and order the local wines on the menu. But if you want, you're unsure about that, you might, stick to what you know, but maybe think out of the box. And instead of a Chardonnay, you might want to try a Viognier. Instead of a Cabernet Sauvignon, you might want to try a Tempranillo. And if you want to start with some sparkling wine and champagne is out of your budget, you might want to try a Cava from Spain. Cava is made with 3 different indigenous grapes to Spain, and it's made in the method Champenois method, which is the same method that champagne is made in Champagne, France. So you might want to try something like that. That's a fairly less expensive sparkling wine, or you might want to try a Prosecco. But then again, if you're really, you're looking at that wine list and you're unsure, stick to what you know, and order it. Just don't want you to feel any more uncomfortable than you already are. And what often crops up is where the wine glasses sit at the table, your formal place setting. A traditional place setting houses the wine glasses just above the knife on the right-hand side. And remember, when it comes to which fork to use, you start from the outside and work your way in. And if it's a really, if you're going to have more than one wine, the wine glasses will be stacked accordingly, right where they are. Now, wine service. This is like a pet peeve of mine. After you select the wines, the server will come out. And this is where a lot of people kind of get stuck. The server will come, the server or the sommelier, depending on the type of restaurant you're eating at, will come over and present the wine with the label forward facing you. It's really important that you look at this label because you want to verify that this is the wine that you ordered, and you want to look at the year. The label might look the same. You might say XYZ Winery, but look at the year. If you ordered a 2012, it should say 2012. This has actually happened to me in the restaurant. I ordered a 2012, and when they presented it to me, it was 2013. I'm like, hey, wait a second, I ordered a 2012. Oh, well, we ran out. This is what we're using instead. It's really important that you check, because you might say, well, maybe that wasn't a good vintage and you want to completely reorder the wine. The server will then open the bottle and give you the cork. And there's a lot of controversy on, what does that really mean? They give you the cork, you smell it. Well, you know what? You need to smell it, because if it smells like a wet dog, it's got cork taint to it. And when they pour it in the glass, it'll taste like cardboard, wet cardboard, or wet dog. So it's a flaw, and then you do want to send that wine back. But anyway, getting back, they'll give you the cork, you'll smell it, they'll pour you a taste. And now the taste of the wine is for the identification of any wine faults, like I just spoke about, and to ensure that the wine tastes good. You're not drinking it, taking a taste of it to say, well, maybe I don't like this particular wine. You're really looking for any wine faults, any spoilage. Does it taste like vinegar? Then you want to send it back, because you didn't order vinegar, you ordered wine. And a lot of times, wine storage or something might happen in the bottling process that just might make that bottle go off. So don't say, I don't want another, bottle of that particular wine, because another bottle might be perfectly fine. So now I'm going to get to the pour. When it comes to the pour of the wine, the size and the taste, they're going to give you about a 1 to 2 ounce pour. You're going to okay it, and then you're going to swirl and taste it. The average glass pour is about 1/3 of the glass to a 1/2 a glass. A 1/2 a glass is kind of a little bit too much, to be honest with you. Usually about 1/3 is pretty good. And if you feel that they're pouring too much wine in your glass, be sure to tell them, hey, yo, stop, cut it off. No, that's good. I've actually been on the other side at wine festivals pouring wine for people, and some people get really kind of nasty. They just kind of take their arm and move it up. It's like, yeah, right, and the wine goes all over the place. But you don't want to do that in a restaurant. You just want to say, hey, excuse me, that's good, I'm good. So I mentioned, the wine faults, and you probably are trying to think, what am I talking about? And there are certain tastes that should not be present in wine. As I said, if you smell wet dog or wet cardboard, you're experiencing cork taint. If, it smells like vinegar, tastes like vinegar, it's oxidized. I'm going to go more in depth on wine faults in our full program, Mastering the Business Dinner. But I just wanted to give you an idea of what to look for when they they pour that first taste for you when you're okaying whether you're spending that money on that bottle of wine. And another question I get asked a lot is, how do you hold the wine glass? And especially if you watch Scandal, there's been controversy because Olivia just grabs that bulb. But when you grab that bulb of the glass, not only do you get fingerprints all over the glass and you can't see the beautiful color of the wine, but your hands will warm the wine up. And sometimes that might not be a good idea. You don't want it'll give you some undesirable taste of the wine. A glass is designed to be held at the stem between your index finger and your thumb, and this also allows for better swirling to release the aromas before you take that sip. And you can also hold the wine from the base. That's also another option. Now, when it comes to tasting wine, it's recommended to take a sip and let it linger in your mouth. By taking a moment to register the flavors and textures of a sip of wine, we can enhance our overall drinking experience. So grab the wine by the stem, take a look at the wine, look at the hues, look at the colors where the wine are along the rim, and smell the aromas, and then give the wine a taste. Now that we've ordered the wine and we're going to enjoy the taste, we're going to walk you through 6 wine and food pairing tips. I'll go over briefly the food and wine pairing tips, and we'll go into them a little bit more in depth. Eat and drink what you like. It's a game of matching and contrast. The weights of the wine, weights of the food, the tannins, the acids, the sweetness. Now, the first tip I always want to say is, eat and drink what you like. If you like a particular wine, go for it. Drink it. If it tastes good to you, order it, drink it. My second food and wine pairing tip is to play the game of matching and contrast. And what I mean by that is a successful food pairing can occur by matching similar flavors with like flavors. I'll give you an example. A smoky dish, you might want to try a smoky wine, like a Malbec. Similarly, contrasting flavors such as cream sauces with an acidic Chardonnay, which will cut through the creaminess on your palate. Next, pay attention to the weight of your food and the weight of the wine. They should both be similar in weight and complexity as to not dominate one another. It's really all about the balance, balancing your food and your wine. Fourth is pay attention to the tannins in the wine. These are naturally occurring compounds found in the skins, seeds, and stems of the grape. They are also extracted from the oak barrels during the aging process. And tannins are present when you feel that puckering or dryness at the top of your mouth. Similar to when you drink, if you drink tea, tea has tannins in them, and you can kind of get that puckering flavor, puckering of the mouth. A fatty meat with a tannic wine will make the tannins softer, while the tannins will help cut through the fat of the meat. Next are the acids. I like to call these the Sour Patch Kid effect. It's the feeling along the sides of your tongue which light up from the acid in the wine. Now, acid in the wine helps cut through the butter, the fat, and cream sauces, and it complements vinaigrettes, lemons, and tomatoes. That's why Chianti, it's a pretty acidic wine, and that you tend to order that when you're ordering pasta and red sauce or spaghetti, whatever. Everyone's got different terms, gravy, whatever you term your red sauce as. And the last food and wine pairing I want to talk about is sweetness. Now, there's many levels of sweetness when it comes to wine, and I took an example here from the Riesling, International Riesling Foundation, and the Rieslings, not all of them, but the majority of them now have the scale of sweetness on the back of the bottle, so you can see if what the sweetness level of the wine is. Sweet wines go great with spicy food. So, for an example, spicy Thai food will pair nicely with a semi-sweet wine. And what happens is the sweetness combats the spiciness, so now your mouth isn't on fire. It just kind of mellows out the spiciness, and it usually will all blend really well together. When I'm at wine festivals, if I taste something, do let's say a salsa tasting or, whatever, and it's really spicy, I will go find a sweet wine to have afterwards to put the fire out in my mouth. So here's a recap of the 6 food and wine pairing tips I just covered. Remember, if your food tastes good along with the wine, enjoy it. Matching similar flavors with like flavors. Be sure to match flavors or pair them with contrasting ones. Similarly, match the weight of the food with the weight of the wine, and remember that acid cuts through fat and creaminess. And lastly, sweetness complements spiciness. Next, I want to dive into some easy ways to pair food and wine that complement these 6 tips. So we'll start with some steak. Steak and Bordeaux or Cabernet Sauvignon will cut through the fat, and the tannins in the wine will cut through the fat. Now, burgers can be rich and flavorful, and these tend to be paired great with really bold kind of wines like a Zinfandel or a Malbec. And actually, Malbec is my go-to burger wine. And now we have chicken. I pair chicken, it depends really on the sauce or how it's cooked, but Chardonnay or Pinot Grigio go well with chicken. Heavier sauces, if they're cream-based, they would go with like a heavier, bolder, oakier Chardonnay. If it's baked with minimal seasoning, then a lighter Pinot Gris or Pinot Grigio would complement it nicely. And now we'll talk about pairing with pork. I like to recommend a Viognier with its stone fruit characteristics that will complement the apple sauces if the dish, the pork dish, comes with some type of apple, or actually even if it doesn't. And if you want a red wine, I would go for Pinot Noir. Its earthiness of the wine is a nice complement for the rich meat flavors in the pork. And now we'll talk about salmon. I like to pair actually Pinot Noir with salmon. It's a nice earthy wine, and the rich flavors and textures of the fish are complemented by the earthy and fruity characteristics of the wine. Also, once again, you can do a white wine with it. Look at the sauce that it's cooked in. If it's a creamier sauce, go with like a oakier Chardonnay. Now we'll talk about shellfish. Shellfish are great paired, I feel, paired with Sauvignon Blanc. If you're doing oysters, champagne. Sparkling wine with oysters, definitely a must. Unfortunately, I can't eat oysters, but I'll drink the sparkling wine when everybody else is eating them. And last but not least is dessert. So when pairing a wine with dessert, you want to make sure your dessert is sweeter than the wine. And dessert wines come in many forms. I'll give you some examples. There's port, and there's different types of port. You can have a white port, a 20 port, a vintage port, a late bottled vintage port. You have ice wine. You have late harvest wine, which is usually harvested like October, November. Madeira, those are just some examples. And I just want to sit here and recap all our food and wine pairing tips. Most importantly is eat and drink what you want. I can't stress that enough, but you also want to match or contrast the pairing when you can. Pay attention to the weight of the food and the wine. Accommodate for any tannins in the wine. Allow for acids to break through meats and any cream sauces. And lastly, sweetness in a wine complements spicy food, but make sure your dessert is sweeter than the dessert wine at the end of the meal. And I do want to mention, lastly, bolder reds pair great with meats, while crisper whites pair with seafood, and chicken and pork pair exceptionally with Pinot Noir. So I get it, I've been in your shoes, and I've shared with you today from experience throughout the years of learning the proper wine etiquette. We want to share this with you in order to make your next big business dinner a success. We hope you attended today's webinar because you wanted to learn these tips to implement in your next business dinner. Maybe you know a little bit about wine, but you're unsure of ordering it in a business setting. Maybe you feel uncomfortable closing deals over business. Perhaps you're looking to demystify the ordering process of how to pair wine. Maybe you want to come across as a refined professional, knowledgeable and a confident host. All these are reasons and are valid for being here today. The one thing I really want you to take away from today is a basic understanding of wine service and pairing for a business dinner, for when you're out there and, you know, making that business sale, or it could even be a job interview, and you want to feel very confident and secure. So the big question, how do you drive a more successful business dinner to better build relationships with confidence and clients? Well, you have a choice. You can go through this blindly, or you can take action for a better understanding of dinner etiquette and wine pairings. If you feel like your head's spinning and just like the glass of wine there, it's completely understandable. There is a lot to learn when it comes to wine, and I have taught you a lot about it in this webinar, but I just like touched the surface. And this is knowledge that I have gathered over years and years learning about wine. So it's a journey, and I'm here to lead the way. And I want to point out that the girl in the picture there is my friend Charlotte, and she started out on this venture with me, but she did not complete it because she left to go do other things that were a little bit more important to her, and she had to decide what was important. And but I wanted to include her because I don't think that this course would have been here today if it wasn't for her. So mastering the business dinner is the fastest way to become a proficient in wine knowledge and prepare for your dining experience to avoid the stress and becoming overwhelmed at your next business dinner. Who is this course for? This course, well, I hope it's for you. It's designed for the sales professional, young professional, entrepreneur, executive, networker, party planner, administrative assistant, account managers, anybody that really wants to learn about wine, learn about how it is in a business setting. Who is this course not for? It's not for anybody in the wine industry. It's not for somebody that's studying for wine and certifications, and it's not for anybody enrolled in a culinary program. The program includes 6 self-guided modules to help you fully prepare for your next business dinner. These modules are offered 100% online with complete access and email support for any questions that may come up along the way, because I want you to feel comfortable, and I want you to be able to, hey, I don't understand something, I've got this big dinner I'm planning, I want to make sure I'm doing it right. The course will cover in-depth planning of the dinner, how to budget for your dinner, what wines to select, and how to further navigate the wine list. We'll expand on wine presentation and wine service experience and take a closer look at these 6 modules. So module 1, the planning stage. Covers planning for the dinner, seeking out the proper restaurant, making the reservations, taking a look at the menu offerings and menu planning. Then we go into the budget, how to budget for the dinner, the wine selection, the day of the dinner, what goes on. Module 3, we'll talk about the wine, the difference between table grapes and wine grapes. We'll define fine wine. We'll talk a little bit more about the balance, length, and complexity of the wine. And we'll also take a look at why some wines cost more than others. In Module 4, we'll dive right into the wine list and determine how they're organized. We'll also learn about the types of wine and what details a wine label really tells you about a wine. And we'll also touch a little bit about ordering local wines. Module 5, we take a closer look at the wine presentation process at dinner. We'll address those wine faults more in detail and what to look for in color of the wine to identify its significance. And we'll wrap up with Module 6, Size Matters. The bottle size, the glassware size, and the size of the pour will all be evaluated in the final module. So throughout the process of this program, you'll have access to me through $1 Million Sips anytime with questions or if you need clarity on subjects. And I want to know, are you ready to indulge? In $1 Million Sips, you'll get 6 value-packed modules, a wine and food pairing guide, unlimited email support, and access to high-quality videos for up to a year. And you need to go and sign up at milliondollarsips.com/masterdinner. So you're probably thinking right now, what is this going to cost me? That's always what I'm thinking when I'm on these webinars and stuff. Oh my gosh, how much is this going to cost me? You know, you could wing it and spend thousands of dollars hosting awkward business dinners, which is what can happen if you don't have a full understanding of planning the dinner, selecting the wines, and services available to you to close the deal. The total value of this program is $1,500. Okay, let me peel you off the floor now. Your investment is only $150. And here's what you will accomplish when you finish with the course. You will be able to choose the restaurant, arrange the dinner, select the wine, pay discreetly, and close your deal. Your results from completing this program will be you will feel confident in your next restaurant selection. You'll have a greater understanding of restaurant service. You will have increased knowledge of wine. You will understand food and wine pairings, and you'll feel relaxed and confident. So here's what you can do next if you're interested. You can go to milliondollarsips.com/masterdinner, where you will come to this screen. And at the very bottom of the screen, there'll be a place where you can go and get the course. And you can enroll in the course, and then you will be taken to here where you will log in and fill it out. But I do want to tell you that it will be launched in 2.5 weeks. So when you sign up, you will then get an email and say everything is up and running. Go for it. Actually, it's 2 weeks. It'll be up and running. I kind of hit a snag in all this because I had a website issue and I couldn't have everything up and running for today, which is unfortunate because I've been planning this for so long. But that's life. This inside, when you log into the members area, this is the screen where you can go into all the different modules. And as I mentioned, if you buy now, if you purchase the class, you'll get my quick guide to sparkling wines of the world. And if you have any questions, you can call me, 845-37-WINE-O, which is 845-379-4630. And or you can email me at milliondollarsips@gmail.com. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them now. You know, feel free. I'm trying to figure out how to go. There we go. Feel free if you have any questions. And if not, you know, I won't keep you any longer than you have. I want to thank you very much for coming to this webinar. And I'm really, you know, if you have any feedback on the webinar as well, please feel free to email me at milliondollarsips@gmail.com. I'm always open for suggestions. And that's about it. If we don't have any questions, I will be fine with, you know, letting you all get back onto your day. So I want to thank you very much once again, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side in the class or at other webinars that I will be hosting. So have a great day and have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.